Cool. So let's get started. A little bit about ourselves. I'm Raj. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Novum.
And I'm Rohit. I'm the co-founder and CTO.
And we're here kind of to talk about going from zero to Prisma, or easy Prisma 2, or basically Prisma 2.0. And essentially, we're going to be demonstrating some of the new Prisma 2 features, which includes Photon and Lift. Photon obviously being very much Prisma client and new database ORM, and Lift helping us with our data modeling and our migrations. And we're going to be doing that. We're going to be basically representing this in 3 different formats. So the first being obviously Rust, second gRPC, which I was in charge of, and let me just tell you, I had to learn it last night, so we might have some issues with the live coding, but I assure you, I'm sure it works better if you actually did some research on it. But and then GraphQL, of course. So, Rohit, do you want to take it away?
All right. So I'll get us started with how we can integrate Prisma 2 into a REST API. So let's go on here. Okay, so we did cheat a little bit, and we got some code bases already set up for us to get started here. So what we're going to be working on is setting up a little superhero database. It's just going to have 2 types. It's really simple. So the okay, is it okay? All right.
Yeah.
Which one would you guys like? Let's do this one. That works. Is that better?
Dracula.
Perfect. We make it a little bigger too. Okay. So if we go and look in the Prisma folder, so you can, I actually started this out from the excellent example repo that we have. You guys can take a look at that, but this is kind of how the structure starts out with. And similar to the previous talk where they kind of show you how to set this all up, we define our data source, we define the generator, and we can go in and define our models, our database models. So let's go ahead and create the hero model. Here we want the ID. This one you could do it in another way from what they were showing. So it could be a string with a default value of a CUID. And we'll annotate that it's an ID and that it's unique. An email.
I just learned that too. So.
Yeah, I learned a lot of things from the previous talk too. So it's very new stuff. Okay, so we've got an email. Name, that's optional. And movies. And I didn't know that there was a plugin that did the code highlighting, so you guys have to bear with me here. Cool. And we'll make one for the movie. And here, we'll do ID, same thing. Created at. Updated at. And then we can just annotate that, and that's how Prisma knows to update this field for us automatically. And we want to know if a movie was released.
Anybody watch Endgame yet? Of course you did. Otherwise, you probably don't exist. But I'm not sure how it is over here.
Great. So now that we've got our data model set up, we could just run yarn Prisma 2 dev. I just learned this command from the last talk, so I'm going to try to use it. But it looks like I have an older version, so what I'll do is I'll just run Prisma 2. Prisma 2 lift. I've got it here. And this will initialize our database after I delete this comment. Good idea. Good call.
It's okay. The more mistakes you make, the better I look. So.
There we go. Okay. Prisma 2, lift up. And then let's generate our client. Okay, so now that we've got everything configured, we can go in and delete that and look at our REST endpoints. So I've got the basics set up here. We import our generated Photon client and we instantiate it, and then we set up our Express server, and then we can disconnect from Photon here if anything goes wrong. So let's just get our server started. And of course, I've got that here. For some reason, when I was testing it out, we had an issue. I've got to kill this rogue process. Okay, there we go. So now that we've got this up and running, we want to have a simple feed of movies in this case, right? So, and this one, it's just the released movies. So to do that, let's also, I've defined a few data points to upload. What happened here? Looks like we have, that's okay. Was it the description that was missing? Yeah, let's make it optional. Okay, great. Okay. Perfect. Okay, so now if we want to add a feed endpoint, we would just run photon dot movies dot find many where released is true. So once we have that, we can go ahead into Postman. I have a predefined collection here, and we need to await this. And there you have it. So we've got a couple of movies here that were created, right? And of course we can filter movies. So movies dot find many. And we just by the search string. So this one we could do an OR here, which accepts an array, and a title contains a search string, as well as the description. So now we can search between either a title or a description. And we can check it out here. Await, yes, I heard that. Thank you. I'll probably be forgetting the awaits from now on, so feel free to shout it out if I do.
Testing you, that's what it is.
Cool, and of course we can do the same with a movie as well by just getting a movie directly. So I can do this here. ID. And to update or to create one, we can do Photon dot. To create a hero in this case, just with the simple name and email. Name. Email, yes.
Yeah, comma.
Yes. Cool. So let's go ahead and check that working. I think that's a pretty simple one as well. So we'll create one for Thor. Wait, yeah. You guys forgot this time. Cool. And I'll do a quick update. So I've made one already for creating a movie. And let's go ahead and update a movie. Good job. I gave you guys this one. I wanted to see. ID. And then, true. So this will help us update the movie to be released. And mainly I'm doing this just to kind of show you guys the various different things as a part of the new API. And to delete, as you imagined, very similar. Instead of doing an update, we do a delete here. Cool. So this is just a very simple way for us to call a REST endpoint. I did forget one thing, which I could show you guys really quickly, which was, okay, let's say we're trying to get a hero and we wanted to get the movies for that hero as well and return that. So in order to do that, we could do something pretty simple. So instead of awaiting this time, we could just say, we could just get the hero object and we could do hero, and we could do movies, and we could do hero. And this actually gives us the ability to go deeply in and be able to provide multiple things that are not just on the surface level. So with that in mind, I think I'll hand it off to Raj to show you guys how to do gRPC.
This would have been really helpful to know. Cool. All right. So we saw kind of how we can use Prisma 2 with REST. And I think in most cases you'd probably expect a really like technical overview about, or like an overview about gRPC and what it does. And yeah, that would be really nice. But yeah, so basically same schema. We're using the same schema as Rohit did. We have a hero and we have movies. Basically in our seed, I did take the time to actually take out Bob and put in Iron Man instead. And so what we do here is very much a very similar thing. What was it? Prisma say?
Prisma 2 dev.
No, I already forgot. Prisma lift save.
You're on.
I'm not. Yeah, you're right. Thank you guys. You guys saved me that. If you have that somewhere.
Yeah, there you go.
And then we're going to run Prisma lift up. And then we're going to run Prisma generate. I'm going to go ahead and seed. Awesome. And then we're going to start the server. Cool. All right. For anyone who's familiar with gRPC, there's a really cool client that's called Bloom, and I definitely recommend you check it out. It helped me learn last night when we landed a lot about what gRPC can do, and a lot of the communication between it. So over here, basically what we're doing is we're translating all these types into something called proto buffers, which are like a type system and sort of like this schema for how gRPC is going to handle all these requests. And essentially, we're calling the package MCU. The service name is MCU. I had a much bigger plan for this talk. I had like all these movies downloaded that I was going to show you guys, but for time's sake, we're not going to do that. Essentially, we're just going ahead and putting in these two calls, which is filter movies and filter heroes. And right here on our server.ts, we're just calling our package right here, which is the MCU. And then over down here, we're creating a new gRPC server, calling that mcu.mcu.service, and pushing these two guys together. If we go here,
did you run seed?
I did. Hold on. You could do this. I just learned this very not too long ago. And that was probably me who was doing this to your server. Okay, let's try that again. Okay, so we did get it. It's just that I don't know how to translate it into something that will work for Blue RPC. So we're just going to say that worked. And yeah, and now let's hand it over to something that we're very familiar with, which is GraphQL.
Yeah. So for the GraphQL side, it's actually been a real pleasure to work with. Tim Grieser just released kind of the new version of Nexus, which has a really nice integration with the Prisma 2. So let's kind of dive into that. Again, it's following the same format, so I won't bore you guys with how we define the server and everything. So I've already handled that. But let's kind of jump straight into the configuration for this. So we can use this with any type of server now. So right now we're just using GraphQL Yoga, but it also works with Apollo server. And we're importing a few things from Nexus that I'll go into later. And we're instantiating Photon in this way. And this is the main part. The Nexus Prisma method is the part that I really want to highlight here. This is what is telling Nexus how to access the data model, right? So here we're just defining it as Photon. And that will expose it through the context as well as making it available as a model. So what exactly does that mean, right? So once we instantiate these things here, I've gone ahead and made a few object types. So one of them is for the hero, the movie, and then the query and mutation. So if we want to be just exposing the what we defined in our database model, we would just simply do it in the way we have here, where we do t.model. And then as you notice, because we named this hero, it already auto-completes for us all of the fields for the hero type. So in this case, email. And we could do name and movies as well. So this is all available to us. As you can see, it's just auto-completing. And then if we go in here and into the movie type, same idea, t.model. Now it makes all of the movie fields available to us. So we don't really care about exposing created at and updated at, so we'll just go with description, title. And before we do this, let me start up the server and just show you guys.
You might want to kill that server.
Okay. Okay, cool. And if we look, whoa. If you look at our schema here, you'll see, okay, so we've got the hero type, the ID email, all the stuff that we just added.
I think everything got minimized.
There, I'll just move it closer. There we go. And the movie type has model dot released. There we go.
Can you like zoom in?
Yep. So as you can see, we just had the ID and description. Yeah, let me. There you go. Is that a little better for you guys? Dot main character as well. So this essentially makes it very easy for us to just expose what's available to us already in the data model. So now these things are available for us to use. And of course, we can always add additional fields. So t dot field, new field, call it a Boolean, for instance. And now we can augment our schema in various different ways, right, on top of what we already have. So with that, now we can actually go in and let's see how we can expose the root, some of the root functionality. For instance, like a single movie. Now, let's say we want to expose a single movie. We can use the CRUD attribute here. So we would say t.crud.find1movie. And once we run that, you'll see we've got find one movie here, but what if we don't want to call it that? We want to call it just movie. So now we can actually alias these types as well. So now we want to have it called movie. Give it a second to restart. Yeah, there we go. There we go, and you have it there. So, and if we want to query for a movie, oh, I forgot to add title. Let's do the feed first. So if we do t.field feed, we can define our own resolvers. So in this case, the type will be a movie type. And it's a list. And to resolve it, now we can use the same way, where parent, args, and context. So the context is what makes Photon available to us. So we can just do return context.photon.movies.
Missed an R.
What was that?
Return.
There we go. I don't need to await this one. So, okay, and then we want to make sure that it's been released. Where? Yes.
Get rid of the other one.
Yep. Okay, cool. So now if we want to run this, we haven't seeded it. There we have it. So we've got all of the stuff that we have that are just automatically exposed for us. And if you wanted to get the movie type here, the ID doesn't exist, so let me use this one here. And there we have it. So We didn't have to do any business logic for exposing this CRUD operation. That just was automatically handled for us as long as we defined the alias there. So I think that was one of the major ways. I've already kind of shown you guys how to create, read, update, and delete in the REST portion. So I think a lot of the similar functionality would apply for the mutations as well. I think, and with that, I guess we could.
We got a couple of other things.
Yeah.
I did get enough time to do a few more things.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we do have some shameless plugs. We are with Novum. Novum is a small, kind of like consulting web dev agency out in Irvine, California, Orange County. And we are actually a pretty big contributor to GraphQL Playground, also MarvelQL and GraphQL Birdseye. And yeah, feel free to come by and say hi and ask us questions. We'll probably be asleep because of the jet lag. But thank you so much. And mainly thank you to Prisma for putting this awesome thing together.
Yeah, a really big round of applause to the Prisma team for getting this ready in time.